Yo, what's up, guys? It's Gun Thug here, bringing you another DPP commentary. I think this is, what is this, five now? Four or five. Man, they just keep piling on up, right? I don't know why, why you guys insist on listening to me ramble on for 15 minutes at a time about these matches, but you guys seem to enjoy it. I certainly enjoy it because, as I've said before, none of my roommates like listening to me drone on, prattle on about what has become my favorite competitive generation of Pokemon. So I have you guys, I have this, and what we got here today is Robofiend versus Rigamorty. Now, I told you guys after the last video I'd be getting this out to you sooner, and I didn't quite deliver on that. It's been a busy last couple days, but I definitely wanted to get around. Even though we're in week 3 now, we've got new matches to deal with and all sorts of cool matchups coming up this week. I wanted to get this one out because I thought this was a great match. I thought this match in particular, it really hammers home the point that I've been trying to make to you guys for weeks now, and that is that lead matchups in Gen 4, a meta game without team preview, are so important. And you're going to see that this game is essentially won because of the lead matchup. And it ended up being a relatively close game. We don't know what one of the Pokemon was. There was one unrevealed, but it ended up being a relatively close game. And I think without such a stellar performance by one of these players' leads and what I can only call a lackluster, almost embarrassing performance by another person pivoting around that lead, this game was won. So let's go ahead and get into it. Robofiend was on, what is his, is he on UFO? Think he might be on UFO. I'm not sure which teams these two are on, to be honest with you. I just know that these are two seasoned DPP players at this point. Rig has been, I know he doesn't play, it's not his primary tier, but he's been playing DPP for a couple seasons in PSL. Robo, again, coming off a rough week 1 loss, but he's also one of the more recognized DPP players in our league. So let's get right into it. We're going to see the leads. We're going to see that it's Heatran versus Sizer. Now, someone makes the comment over here that Sizer is not a very good lead, and I think I generally agree with that. It's good for momentum. If you want to use a Scarf Sizer that can U-turn out on something, or even Pursuit Trap something like a Zelf, I don't know. I think Flygon's probably a better choice there, just because it's got more resistances. It's a little faster. Uh, and we find out later that this is Scarf Sizer. I wouldn't mind maybe a Sash Sizer lead because it's got the ability to hit hard and then smack the opposing lead with a priority move, which can help against Focus Sash. But we're going to see right away, he's going to pivot out to Swampert here on this Heatran lead. I've talked about Heatran lead before. I really like Heatran lead. It's got fantastic coverage. It's got fire, ground, and then whatever hidden power you want to run with Stealth Rocks generally. It's got great coverage. It runs a Sash, or it can run something like Shuka or Choppel to deal with other leads to where you know it's going to survive. And so it puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to kind of switch around. Now, here's the thing, though. And I'll go back to this a little bit later because we do find out that this Sizer is Scarf. But I mean, no, I don't think Scarf Heatran is a common lead. I think if you see a Heatran lead, you need to assume it's either running Shuka or Choppel or it's running Focus Sash because the main goal of a Heatran lead is to put rocks up and hit hard. It's kind of it reminds me a lot of Empoleon lead. It's not going to be Scarfed, so I don't know. I don't see any harm whatsoever in you turning out with Sizer there because at the very least you're breaking his Sash. And we'll see that come into play and become very important in this match. So Robo goes to Swampert, soaks up a Fire Blast, and Swampert's going to that leftovers tick is interesting. Okay, we'll talk about the Swampert in just a turn or two. But so he's going to hit with Fire Blast, and at this point, I mean, Robo must be convinced that it's Scarf. That's the only explanation I can think of for these moves, for not attacking first with Sizer because a Scarfed Heatran would outspeed Scarf Sizer, and for staying in with Swampert on this quite obvious HP grass. I mean, Swampert is such a common switch into Heatran. It's also a very common lead. So it's extremely illogical for a lead Heatran to carry HP grass and to be able to pivot. Like I said, it wants to put rocks up, so it's not going to run that Scarf set. A poor play from Robo there, and he knows that. He's well aware. You're going to see him over here exclaim, ah, fuck. And he's going to go to Infernape. So now we have a situation where, yeah, Infernape's going to one-hit KO Heatran unless it's carrying a Sash, which at this point he has to know it's likely carrying a Focus Sash. He hits him with the close combat. That's going to take his defense and special defense down. This is obviously mixed Life Orb Infernape, which Robo loves using, and I don't blame him. It's a fantastic wall breaker. But guess what? So after Riga has shown nothing but one Pokemon. Robo has revealed his Sizer, lost his Swampert, and lost his Infernape. I mean, that is just how unbelievably important your lead matchup is in DPP, and also having a contingency plan for if you lose that lead matchup. I mean, Heatran versus Sizer, you lost the lead matchup. At that point, your goal should be to mitigate the damage as much as possible. And I just don't think Robo did that, and he lost 2 Pokemon because of it. So he goes to Starmie now. He's going to go ahead and take out Heatran. And this very well may have been 4 attack Heatran. Sometimes they carry Explosion instead of Stealth Rock. And I think we see Riga throw rocks up with something else. So he brings out Jirachi. We go to Hippo here for Robo. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and skip forward to where I was. What I love about Hippo and what we'll see in this game is that Hippo has this ability to just kind of drag you kicking and screaming further into a match. I mean, it's just so hard to take down Hippo. A Grass Knot Jirachi 2-hit KOs non-specially defensive Hippo, but I think based on damage we'll see later that this is a Spadef Hippo, or at least it has some special defensive investment. He's going to get caught out a little bit here for not running Whirlwind. I think Riga probably comes out and tries to set this up a little bit too early. We'll see later he's got another sweeper, so maybe he's just using this kind of as a cleaner early game, but I think that Kingdra's honestly best left for late in the game because it can almost always get a Dragon Dance off and then Chesto rest here back to full health. Instead of what he does is he's taking heavy damage from this Hippo, which means that he's probably heavily speed and attack invested and almost no bulk, unless the Hippo's running attack investment. I don't think it would, though. So, obviously he's going to take pretty good damage from that +1 waterfall, which tells me, he may be running some physical investment. Hippo's a beast, though. It can take hits on both sides of the aisle pretty well. Rather than sack his Hippo, he makes a good play here, goes to Starmie. I think if you're Kingdra there, you're at 2% health. You've got a 55% Hippo. I mean, I don't see any harm in outraging there. You're going to die to the Sandstorm Tick anyways. I think Outrage probably, I don't know if it kills Hippo, but I don't think the Waterfall would have killed Hippo either, because the Waterfall did, what, 53%? Hippo went down to 47 and then ticked back up to about 53, so, that Waterfall might not kill Hippo, so I don't see any harm in outraging there. But, 20/20 hindsight, Riga will be all right. He loses his Kingdra here, and Robo's got Starmie out. So after a really rough lead situation where Riga was able to take out 2 of his strongest Pokemon with Heatran, Robo's kind of fought his way back into this. He's revealed more Pokemon than Riga has. And he's got about a half-health Hippo and a half-health Starmie, but, is definitely not out of it. And I said over here, it ain't over till it ain't over, which doesn't mean anything, but it ain't over in DPP until you see these last Pokemon, because we know how powerful these sweepers can be, especially sweepers such as this dog, the doggy, as I will now call him. Doggy's going to take a lot from Life Orb Hydro Pump. I mean, at this point, had he revealed a move on Starmie yet? I don't know if he had. Oh yeah, he had shown Psychic on Heatran, so he knew that it was right here. Opposing Starmie lost some of its HP. I think honestly, even a Life Orb Psychic probably comes pretty close to one-hit KO in Lucario. Lucario has paper defenses. Okay, so Riga bringing in Lucario here. Lucario here. I think I just did it like 3 or 4 times. I called it Lucario without even a second thought. Didn't even set off any warnings. Bear with me here, guys. I think by like week 6 or 7, I'm gonna be calling this stupid dog by its true name. Listen, when I was growing up, my name's Corey. When I was growing up, my teachers used to always misspell my name. They'd spell it C-O-R-Y instead of C-O-R-E-Y. It used to drive me crazy. So listen, I get it. I understand that this stupid dog is probably quite peeved at my mispronunciation. But you know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, okay? I'm trying to learn. I'm trying so hard. And anywho. Where was I? I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, I don't think you leave this dog in on a Life Orb Starmie. When it's a Life Orb Starmie, it's going to outspeed you. Maybe you should have gone for an Extreme Speed there just to get, I don't know if I think an Extreme Speed probably kills from that range. I have a different calc pulled up, or I would pull it up right now, but that'll come into play later. So Riga sacks yet another sweeper. So at this point, in 2 straight moves, he's lost his +1 Kingdra and his potentially devastating Lucario. I think that Hippo probably handles him anyways. If it's got physical investment, the Hippo's at 53%. I think Hippo would have been able to come in there and mitigate the damage. He's also got Scarf Sizer, which is going to come in and be able to superpower there. So good job by Robo clawing back into this. Here comes Jirachi though. And I think we know that this is probably a calm mindset. Look at that damage. I mean, that's why I love Life Orb Starmie, and that's why I always say you should never rapid spin your first turn out with Starmie because it just hits so hard. It can really take a chunk out of your Rotom, your Gengar, anything that's going to switch in, even a Jirachi who has really nice special defense. So Rachi's going to throw Thunderbolt and finally get rid of that pesky Starmie, but we're still at 3-3. This is definitely anyone's game at this point. That's why I think that it's probably especially defensive invested Hippo because he only takes 45% from that strong Psychic. Gets the special defense drop, which might seem unlucky, but it's Jirachi. So honestly, I think it's unlucky when Jirachi doesn't get some sort of RNG with one of his moves. He's going to slack off there and go to Sizer. Good move here. He's going to take the Psychic. Most Jirachis aren't running something to hit Sizer. Sometimes they'll carry HP Fire, but most Jirachi are going to run plus speed. And you really don't want that 30 IV. There's a lot of things that sit at 328, Flygon being the main one. And so you don't, in other Jirachi, you don't really want to sacrifice that speed for HP Fire. It's definitely nice to hit Sizer. We saw in my match last week, if I could run 10 moves on Jirachi, I would. It's got such a wide move pool and such an amazing skill set that it can run a lot of different moves, but you can't run them all. You can only run 4. And so he wasn't carrying HP Fire here. He's going to get kind of exposed for that. That's when we know it's probably Scarf Sizer because he's going to outspeed that Jirachi. Sometimes Jirachi don't run speed investment, but even so, you're always sitting at above 245, 246, which is enough to outspeed your non-Scarfed Sizer and your non-Scarfed Tyranitar and things of that nature. It's just common speed range. So I think at that point we know from that U-turn that it is Scarf Sizer, which begs the question, why didn't you break that sash on Heatran early in the match? If Infernape comes in close combat, takes out this Heatran, he's got a 91% health Infernape, which is going to help with so many things. It's going to help break this Lucario, which he ended up doing anyways. It's going to break this Jirachi much faster, and we'll see from his last 2 Pokemon. Well, possibly. We didn't see this Pokemon, but spoiler alert. But we'll see. It would have been useful, obviously. And Robo's kicking himself for that. I'm sure he is. But it's just something to note. There's a 41% from a Psychic. So, Hippo's just beasting on this. He takes hits like it's nothing. He hits back like it's everything. It's definitely impressive. I love this. I love this Pokemon. I'd love to have it in Pokemon MMO. Out comes Zapdos, and this I will say is one of my favorite Zapdos sets. He's going to rock an agility here, and what that usually means with Zapdos and with an already high speed, you can afford to run a modest, or like a plus special attack nature on an agility Zapdos, and you're still going to outspeed everything after an agility. So what we see here is he's going to go for the agility. So what's Hippo going to do? Okay, now we know this Hippo is running Slack Off, Stealth Rocks, Toxic, and Earthquake. I don't know if Toxic had been shown yet, but we'll see here. He's going to go ahead and slap the Toxic on. I think that's a bad play. I think that if you slack off, you're running at about 85 to 90% health. And as we'll see up here, a fully special defensive Hippowdon, which is careful, fully special defensive, is going to be able to eat these Life Orb hidden powers even from a plus a special attack Zapdos. It's taken 44.7 to 52.8%. I think you have to assume that it's going to be Life Orb Zapdos, but even if you're not, like Zapdos is going to take residual damage. That's what he does. So, I don't know if that was a great move there to throw the Toxic up when I think he could have kept his Hippo a little bit longer. We'll see here this next hidden power is going to go ahead and take him out. So there goes Hippo. I think if he could have stalled here a little bit longer, that Life Orb damage is going to rack up. Eventually, might have had the chance to hit him on an Earthquake on a predicted Roost, because remember, Roost takes away your flying type. So I think his Hippo had the tools to deal with that. And also, you got to look at the rest of your team. I mean, Sizer has nothing to touch Zapdos. You're usually running Bug, Steel, Superpower, maybe Pursuit. You got nothing for Zapdos. So, he's going to come in with Sizer here. The Thunderbolt's going to take it out. I don't know why you don't Bullet Punch there. Even if you're Scarfed, he's at +2. So I think you got to Bullet Punch there and take as much health away as you possibly can. And we'll see Zapdos after this Toxic tick is going to end up at 1% health. I mean, if you Bullet Punch there, we see it over here in the chat, you've got a chance here. You've got a one-on-one situation with your last versus his last. And you know what? I like Dragonite in a lot of one-on-one situations. I think that he... Man, I didn't even realize that when I was watching it the first time, but that very well may have cost Robo the game. Now, we don't know 100% what this last Pokemon is. If I know Riga, I think it was probably a Weavile. But a Weavile doesn't really mesh that well with the rest of his team, so I don't know. Who knows what this last Pokemon is? We'll never know because obviously Zapdos is carrying HB Ice, takes out the Dragonite like it's nothing, and that's yet another loss for Robo. Big win for Riga. I believe, no, Riga is for UFO. Okay, sorry. So that's how it happened. Riga won for UFO. Robo is playing for, it's not Heroes. You know what? You guys can go look. Go check out PSL thread. I'll put it in the description of the link. You'll see exactly who benefited from this win, who suffered because of this loss. And you know what? Why don't you check out week 3 and see if either of these two can rebound? Another Riga's got the start again at DPP, so he's going to be expected to match a strong performance. Robo's going to be expected for the amount of credits that was paid for him. He's going to be expected to rebound. So, as always, it's been fun. Keep checking out PSL. We're going to have plenty more of these commentaries coming. I'm Gunthug, and I will see you guys next week.